Hey you guys, today we are going to get into my Juki DDL-8700. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen and welcome to Jen Restyle and Fashion. On this channel we talk about upcycling, thrifting, styling, and how we take those thrifted pieces, work them into our wardrobe to create our own personal style. We do sewing, how-to videos, and we take you through that process over here. So if this sounds like something that is interesting to you, then please hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell and join the family. We'd love to have you here. All right, you guys. So today is a special episode and a series that I am going to run probably throughout the year because I think it's super interesting. A lot of you guys have asked me questions and I want to try to address as many of those questions as possible and maybe entertain some additional questions that you might have. And that is about my Juki DDL-8700. Now, I have had my Juki DDL-8700 for almost 2 years now. Prior to that, I had a Singer something. I can't remember the name of it. This is actually my third industrial sewing machine. I also had an industrial serger many years ago. Have no photos of that. But I've always found working with industrial machines to be really good for me. For the type of sewing that I do, for the amount of sewing that I do. And I felt like I needed an upgrade. So about 2 years ago, as I was prepping for an upcoming fashion show, my machine kept giving me so many problems. And I had that Singer maybe a good 20 years, I'm pretty sure. But I was constantly having to take it to get it repaired. And it was costing me time. And I just said, you know what, finally, let's just get rid of it. So I called around one of our local retailers for industrial sewing machines, had the DDL-8700. I knew this was the machine that I wanted. I had been looking at some others, but this is the one that you'll find in the industry most of the time. You'll find it in classrooms, you'll find it in sewing studios, in the industry. This is what they're using. They do come in two types. Actually, probably more than two, but the two that I'm familiar with is the DDL-8700A and the H. And so both of those, one is for light to medium, and the other one is for medium to heavy. So if you're sewing like boat tarps or some kind of tent tarps, any kind of really heavy fabrics like that, then you want to get the DDL-8700H. But the A was just fine for me because I'm doing light to medium. The heaviest thing that I'm sewing on is probably lightweight leather and heavyweight denim, which it sews just fine. So what I ended up doing was I traded in my old industrial sewing machine, and they gave me like $150 off of this one. So I couldn't beat it. I had found some of these sewing machines on Facebook Marketplace, and some of them came with the table, some without. They wanted to charge you for delivery, or there were some other fees and things attached to it. And I just said, you know what? I want a new one for myself. I feel like I deserve that. Let me just go on and just take the plunge. So I did upgrade the motor because I wanted that kind of noise-free, silent motor as opposed to what I had been dealing with before. Y'all, my machine was so loud. If I have some video of it, I will post it here. The machine was just like, you would turn it on and I couldn't hear anything else in the house. Now when I turn this on, you hear that? Zero. Nothing. Nothing. I don't even hear it turn on. You know, it's so great. I love it. Anyway, I want to show you around the sewing machine so that you can become familiar with it. This is a really high level overview. I recently purchased some new feet, new plates, new supplies, things like that, because I finally gotten to a place where I can explore. When I'm not using my Juki DDL-8700, I am using my Husqvarna Viking Opal 69Q. And I love that machine. That machine costs twice as much as this machine, but I love it because pretty much everything that I can't do on here, I can do on there. And then some of what I can do on here, I can do there. It's questionable what I can do here. With the DDL-8700, this is a single needle straight stitch machine. So that is the only stitch you can do on this machine, is a straight stitch, nothing else. However, you can do quilting on this machine. I don't have a need for quilting, but I saw something really cute that my girlfriend Tammy was wearing, and I'm gonna pop a picture up of her. This dress is quilted, and I'm thinking maybe I need to add quilting to my repertoire. So I don't know if I'm going to do that yet, but come on, let's get into this sewing machine and let me show you around. This sewing machine comes with pretty much everything that you need. Obviously the sewing machine itself, it came for me with extra bobbins. It comes with a table. It comes with a cone holder, thread holder. It comes with this light, pretty much everything that you see here. When I got this machine, like I said, they gave me free delivery. They gave me money on my trade-in. They came and they set it up. I was so glad because I would not have wanted to do this construction. Could I do it? Yes. Did I want to do it? Absolutely not. They came in and they put this together so quickly. Now, I've recently purchased some accessories that I'll talk about in a separate video, but there are some things that I want to try out on this machine to see if they work. But I have purchased some bobbins, some additional bobbins, as well as additional needles. Now, my bobbins are all metal bobbins. I bought these, I believe I got these on either eBay or off Amazon. You can buy many of your supplies for the machine on Amazon. I was so surprised to see that. And then I also purchased some additional needles because I've been breaking needles like nobody's business. The size needle is 16 by 257. And the needles go from a size 8 to 18. Once you get higher than that on a needle, then you have to adjust the timing. I don't want to have to do any of that, so I don't think I'll be doing any of that. So those are the accessories that we'll talk about today. They're not really accessories, they're necessities. You have to have bobbins, you have to have extra needles. I have about 3 more packs of these, and I try to keep bobbins winding while I'm sewing. The side of the machine has the bobbin winder on it, and so I try to keep one of these on there at all times, just constantly getting filled up. And then once it's filled, I've been sticking it on top of here since they broke that, but I usually just stick it in my drawer. But yeah, you gotta have those extra bobbins because you just need different kinds of thread, and it takes time. You know, you can be sewing and winding your bobbin at the same time, which is a very, very cool feature. I'm moving some of these things to the side because I do want to show you a little bit about the machine. For one, it comes with this little light which moves around. It's attached by a magnet, which is really nice because I can put it on the front of the machine. This machine is all metal, and I can put it right here on the needle so that I can better see where I'm threading the needle. And I just recently bought a needle threader. We're going to talk about that later. That's not for this episode. But having that extra light is just great. Now, before, on my old machine, the light was in the back, and I could bring it down here in the back, but that didn't really help as much with threading the needle. So this is a great feature. Now, in order to add additional oil, or to change the oil, you have to lift up the sewing machine, lift it back, tilt it back rather, and there are two levels in there. There's a low and a high. If you see your machine getting towards the low, then you definitely need to add some additional oil. I haven't had to do that yet, but I'm probably going to need to. There is a stand in the back, so when you push the machine back, it will rest on that stand in the back, which is really, really nice. Also, inside you will see a pump as well as some other little parts of the machine. There is a rubber plug in the bottom. You can lift that plug out with a flathead screwdriver and pop the plug out, drain the oil, and wipe everything clean. You can use an air pressure, canned air, if you want to blow out, you know, the dust and things in there. I would recommend using a brush to get some of it out, but in that hose there might be some lint or something in there that you need to get out, so you can definitely use it in there. I haven't had to do that yet, but I assume I'm probably going to have to do some maintenance on it at some point, and I will do a video about the maintenance that I've had to do on this machine. So from the top to the bottom, so we've got the light here. Like I said, the machine is solid metal. It is extremely heavy. I'm not sure what the weight is, but I just know it weighs a lot. And in fact, when I moved with this sewing machine, the movers dropped my machine. Well, I shouldn't say it didn't hit the ground. They caught it right before it hit the ground, but they broke the tension pole right here at the top, and this is the piece that goes on there. I did since find a replacement, but it's not exact. It's the old replacement. The old replacement, the older machine, because mine is a newer one, didn't have this tension wheel on the top. The older one just has two holes in it that you put the thread through. So I've got to figure out what I'm going to do about that. Anyway, you have your two spool holders here. One spool holder is the one that you're using to sew with, and the other spool holder is feeding into the bobbin winder, and I will pop that up on the side of the screen so that you can see the bobbin winder over on the side. Now what I have done is I have created a little pin cushion here on the front, because when I sew, I want to just pull my needles in and out right here. I don't want to necessarily have a pin cushion or even a magnetic cushion. So I know this is super old school, but that's what works for me. All right, and so then right here you see this little ball at the top of the machine. That is for the oil indicator. So as you're sewing, the oil is being pushed through the sewing machine, and if you don't see anything popping up here, then you probably need to add a little more oil. And today when I was sewing, I didn't see anything popping up there, so I'm gonna have to add some oil to my sewing machine. Right here in the front, you have the stitch length dial, and so it goes from really, really small to 1 and 0 all the way up to 5 for like a basting stitch or what have you. This is your reverse lever, so that takes you backwards, and then coming over here to this part of the machine, so when you thread the machine, the thread comes over to this top tension, and then it comes around here in an S shape around this little lever here. It's not a lever, it doesn't move at all. It's a stiff piece of metal. So it goes first, after it comes to that tension on top, then it goes through these guide holes right here, and then down into the tension dial. Is my camera overheating? I think it is. Down into this tension dial, then it comes around here to the thread guide, and then the upper thread guide, then the take-up lever, then another thread guide, a hook here above the needle, a hole right above the needle, and then you thread the needle left to right. Now, that is a big difference between industrial sewing machines and household sewing machines. The needle is threaded very differently. It's a lot more steps, and you have to make sure that it is left to right. On my machine, it's left to right. It might be different on some other industrials, but I don't think so. I think most of them are left to right. But overall, I am super satisfied with this machine. It meets all of my sewing needs when it comes to straight stitches, stitching things that are heavy. You guys have been watching me make some of my upcycles. You know I do a lot of denim, and whenever I'm using my Opal 690, I break so many needles, or I get one of those override messages, and it just can't handle that. This machine, yes, I have broken several needles on it, but it's beyond, I would say, gosh, I might be going over 15 layers of denim, and I hit a hard spot, you know, at the top of your jeans where there's that thickness around the buttonhole. When you're sewing right in that corner, the fabric is in there and it's packed. It's so dense. It's really hard. It's almost hard as a rock. And so no, this machine can't sew over that. So when I've hit certain spots like that, I have broken needles. I think I broke like 4 or 5 needles this week trying to just test it and push it. And it was like, no, we're not doing that. So, but everything else, I have absolutely no issue with. I absolutely love this sewing machine, and I see myself having this machine forever. I mean, I had my last machine for 20 years, and honestly, when I traded it in, I felt like they were probably going to sell it to someone for $300 or $400. Easy, with a little maintenance. It's just, I got tired of going back and forth, and I just wanted to have something new. All right, you guys, so I hope that was helpful, showing you around the Juki DDL-8700. Again, this is a series that I will keep doing throughout the year as I'm learning more about my sewing machine and as I'm buying more accessories for my sewing machine. All right, you guys, see you next time.